Conference recording started.
Good evening, everybody. This is Barry McLeod in Henderson, Nevada, on the outskirts of Las Vegas. Welcome to our Wednesday night, May the 13th, Wolfpack training call. We're excited that you have taken the time to be here. We value your time. We work very hard to make these calls beneficial, not only for helping to build your business, but to help build life. And we've got so many wonderful things we can talk about. When you belong to natural longevity, there's not a day go by that there isn't something that happens that is inspiring, that hopefully everybody was on the call last night. Jackie did a great job, and all of the testimonies that we heard last night, just wonderful. Makes you very proud to be a part of what we're doing here. I want to start off doing some training tonight, and we're going to change the format just a little bit. I had a whole training planned, but I'm going to put that on hold until next week, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The first thing I want to talk about is obviously in the has anybody something that happened just to me just within the last couple of days. Last week I was reminiscing about my old high school days, and that goes back a long time. I was probably in high school before most of you were even born, I think. But anyway, and I was reminiscing about three individuals that I used to go downtown on Fremont Street with, and back then you could drive up and down and cruise Fremont Street. That's where all the teenagers went, and I was really reminiscing with some strong emotion. And of course, I haven't talked to any of those three guys for probably 30 years at least. And lo and behold, Monday morning I get up, and as I'm going through my hundreds of emails that come in over the weekend, and I'm not quite like Richard. I know Richard gets about 1,000 a day. I get about 200 to 300 a day. And one caught my eye, and it happened to be from a program called Classmates that you can get online, and anyway, go back into your high school years, and probably some of you are familiar with it. And one of the gentlemen that I was reminiscing about the week before had sent me a message with a phone number. I called him, and we had a great conversation. We're going to get together, but here's what he said to me, that last week he got the strong impression about me, and just good fuzzy feeling, and a strong impression, and he thought, I've got to track Barry down. Now, you say to yourself, is that just a coincidence? Well, you know that we don't believe here at the Wolfpack, we don't believe in coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. How many times have you eaten at a restaurant that you really liked, and it's been on your mind? Wow, that was good food. I want to go back. And lo and behold, out of the blue, 2 or 3 days later, maybe a week later, maybe a month later, somebody will, in the course of the conversation, mention that same restaurant. Is that a coincidence? No, I don't believe it is. You know, continually on this call, we teach the principles of the law of attraction, the law of mind, the laws of the universe. What goes out comes back, especially the thoughts we put out with emotion. I don't believe it was a freak thing that a week ago, with very strong emotional thoughts I was relaying to my wife, talking to her about these three gentlemen and her kids back then, and some of the fun things we used to do, and in less than a week, all of a sudden, tells me he had the same impression and knew he had to get a hold of me. Continually, if we will look at our lives, we will see what's happening. back when Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, that was so far advanced thinking for that time. And in one of the chapters about the cosmos and the thoughts are things. I mean, that was really way out there. That was woo-woo land. Today, they have scientifically proven everything in that book that he wrote about is true. It works that way. Next week, I did a lecture by Dr. Bruce Lipton, and it was so fun. I took, I've got 8 or 10 pages of notes. I've got to go through them and condense some of that, but we're going to talk about that because Dr. Lipton talks about the new science of epigenetics, how thought patterns in our brain can actually change the genes in our body, can actually change our life for the good or for the bad. Now, you know, we talk about that all the time here, but I was so fascinated as I listened to this lecture, and it was like 2 or 3 hours. There's an actual new science that, again, has proven about thoughts of things, what Napoleon Hill talked about in Think and Grow Rich. And next week we're going to do some training on that subject. In the meantime, just to whet your appetite, hopefully you're as excited about that as I am. One note I made out of those notes, because we talk about the programs in our subconscious mind, in our brain, that really rule our life. And Dr. Shan Helmstedler has talked about the neurons in the brain that all fire together. And in this training that I attended a couple of weeks ago, he said 70 to 77% of our programs in our brain are negative and false. We are doing it to ourselves. And now he's talking about some problems that we may be having in life. He says we are doing it to ourselves. We just don't see it. We can't get out of the hole because we don't see we're the ones digging the hole. How profound is that? So that's on tap for next week. We're gonna get into that subject. In the meantime, there's a book called The Magic in Asking the Right Questions by Bill Meyer. And I just want to read a couple things out of here. He says, you are a mental magnet. Everything you have attracted in your life is primarily because of your thoughts. Your dominant thoughts create a force field of mental energy that radiates from you and attracts back into your life people and circumstances in harmony with these thoughts. The power of this mental force field increases, now listen to this, increases proportionally to the intensity of your thoughts that are emotionalized. How many times have we talked about on this call about really energy, emotionalizing your thoughts? Positive, obviously. He says your thoughts combine with your emotions radiating from you create a powerful magnetic mental force field. This will attract back into your life people, situations, ideas, and opportunities consistent with your dominant thoughts. So again, we've got some new people on the call tonight. In my life, many years ago, when I just could not seem to make it in this industry and couldn't figure out why, and had all kinds of credit card problems, everything was going wrong. I finally started to accept all the teachings and trainings I'd gone to. I walked into the bathroom, I looked at myself in the mirror, and I basically said, Barry, this whole blankety-blank financial mess that you have got yourself into is your fault. It's nobody else's fault. I created it with my stinking thinking, as Zig Ziglar would say. But then I looked myself in the eye and says, the good news is I can uncreate it with better thinking. And that's exactly what I started to do immediately. And isn't it amazing, things turned around. Was it a coincidence? I don't believe so. It was because I started applying the laws that govern this entire universe. In that book, one more little thing I want to read. He says, your outer world mirrors your inner world. The law of correspondence simply states everything that happens in your life outside of you corresponds with what is going on inside of you. Your outer world of manifestations corresponds directly with your inner world of thoughts and emotions. Remember, a couple of months ago, we did a whole two or 3 week training on the RAS, the reticular activating system in our brain, and how that works and how that is continually attracting into our lives what we're thinking about. So, when you look at, on the email that I sent out, there's 3 quotes that I want to briefly go over. The first one was by William Pollard. He said, people want to work for a cause, not just for a living. Isn't that so true? And do not we have one of the greatest causes you've ever come across, one of the greatest crusades this industry has ever seen? A crusade to tell the truth? A crusade to make products that really work? A crusade to make those products affordable for everybody? A crusade that has a compensation plan that's the most fair in the entire industry? The second one, by Mother Teresa. She said, to keep the lamp burning, we have to keep putting oil in it. My, what profound words of wisdom. We can't rest on our laurels about what we did yesterday or last week or last month. To build the organization that will do justice to this wonderful company that Stan Haley has let us all be a part of. We have to work at it every day. We have to know that continually talking to people, and that is how we get paid, is we talk to people. What did Les Perryman tell us a couple of months ago? He said, if you're not talking to people, you're unemployed. How many of us were employed today? The other quote is, and I thought this very unique, it says, help thy brother's boat across, and lo, thine own has reached the shore. As we continue to help people, how many times have you heard Zig Ziglar and a lot of the motivational speakers say, to get what you want, help other people get what they want, and yours is automatic. In network marketing, that's as true as it's ever been. In that email I sent out today, I asked 2 questions. First, the 2 magical questions, by the way. How can I help? Is that our attitude when we're talking to people? How can I help you? How do we do that? Well, we have to get on their island to find out where the pain is so we can see how we can help them. And we'll talk about that for just a second. The other one, magical question is, what difference do we make here? Are we making a difference? If that ever question comes into your mind, listen to the corporate call that was last night and the testimonials that were given. Listen to any of our calls and the testimonials that are given. And tell me all about the difference we're making in people's lives. Did not you almost have tears in your eyes last night? Aren't you just so proud to represent a company that is making such a huge difference in people's health, let alone their finances? You know, I had the privilege of talking to several of our leaders in the company today, and their energy is contagious. I want more of it. They re-energize my batteries. How do you get that energy? You get it when you sell out heart, body, and soul to what we're doing here. We don't have time for the negative crap. We don't have time to lug behind us that negative crap baggage that maybe we've been lugging around for years. No, get rid of it. We don't have time for it. We've got a bright, wonderful future ahead of us. And next week in our training that we're going to really focus in on, that Dr. Bruce Lipton did, we're going to get into the science of how even with bad health, number one, we know our products can help that, but number two, just by changing our mental outlook, it can literally change the genes and the DNA in your body, and they have scientifically proven it in a lab. That should be wonderful news for everybody, especially those that are downcast and beat up and just going through tough times, and they've had tough times for years, and all that stuff. It can change. It has to start with you and me. It has to start with a group of people that we have here in this company that care enough about each individual in this company that they're going to work with them regardless of whose organization or downline they're in. You just don't find that anywhere else except natural longevity. Is our future bright? It's so bright that we're going to need to be wearing sunglasses, because we're making a difference and we're doing it the right way. And we've got an owner that totally believes in doing it the right way. Why do our products work so well? Why are we getting these kind of results? Because we've got an owner that absolutely refuses to compromise the integrity of the ingredients that go in to our product line. We've got a health coach named Jackie Smith that is world renowned, and she is here helping you and me and anybody else that asks for help. What a blessing that is. We've got Richard Johnson that, man, I can't go a day without getting energized talking to him. And Lauren, and I could just go right on down the list. We have lots and lots of leaders here. I get excited just talking to Mike Neff and Josh Moses because of their commitment on what we're doing here and the difference that we're making in people's lives. And you and I are part of this. And this is going to get really, really big. Sandra asked me during one of the cold call clinics this week, she's going to be taking a vacation. Summertime's coming, and there's lots of people going to be taking vacations. That is a wonderful time for you to spread your organization into different areas, different states, wherever you're going. How do you do that? I want to address that for just a second. Number one, you make sure that wherever you're going, you've got a suitcase full of brochures. All of them with your name and your email address and your phone number and your websites on there. And everywhere you go, you make sure the brochures are left behind. And don't just stick them there on a desk or a table. Start a conversation with somebody. Get to know them. Get on their island. The best way to do that, again, is find a reason to compliment somebody. You know, I know we beat this to death, but let's just beat it to death one more time. Whenever you're in a restaurant, and if you're going on vacation, you're going to be in restaurants, I'm assuming. Are you going to be checking into motels or hotels with clerks there? You look for a reason to compliment somebody. Wow, I like your energy. Wow, the waiter that's hustling. I've been watching you, man. You're not hustling everybody in this restaurant. You must really enjoy your job. Here's a key. I'm at J.C. Penney's as a clerk. Wow, I like you. What a beautiful smile you have. You must really, you've got good energy coming. You must really enjoy your job. A lot of times they'll say, well, it's okay. Man, they've just opened the door for us. But you can't just stomp on it. You got to continue the conversation. You got to get to know them a little bit. Get on their island. Find out, how long have you been working here? What did you do before? You know, what if you could change one thing, what would it be? You know, you've got to, if, and please, again, only sincere compliments. We're not phony salespeople here. We don't give out phony compliments to get the sale. Look for a sincere compliment. If they've got a good speaking voice, tell them that. Wow, you've got a great voice. You would do well in the business I am in. Most of the times, they'll appreciate the compliment, and they'll say, what business are you in? Listen, I know you're busy right now. I'm busy. Let me give you a brochure, some websites, and, take a look at these. I'd like to answer some questions and see what you like best about it. Let me have your phone number, or how do I get back in contact with you? Because I'm going to be out of town. I'm just passing through. How can we reconnect? Ask them. Sometimes they'll give you their phone number. I'm working with 2 people right now that has given me their phone number. Sometimes they won't. If they don't, it's okay. Continue to make a friend. You'll be surprised that they will call you. The maid that makes up the room. I don't know about you guys, but usually on our last day, we'll leave a tip on the bed. Guess what? This summer we're going to be leaving a tip inside one of our brochures. Wherever you go, people need to hear about what's happening here. You are the messenger. We can't control whether they say yes or no. We can control the fact that they're going to get the opportunity to say yes or no. And what's the worst case scenario to come out of this? You've made a new friend. And what happens when you really care about your friends? You do really want them to know about these products. They're life-changing. We never know that the grocery store clerk that you just checked out with, they may be going through some really hard times. I happen to have a phone number now that just picked up within the last week of a clerk that's been at a particular grocery store for a lot of years. He's always cheerful.
Recording started.
He's always cheerful, and he's always, just a pleasure to be around, and I complimented him on it. And I asked him, how long have you been here? And it's been years. And anyway, please, as you go on vacations this year, that's a wonderful opportunity not only to have a good time, enjoy your family, relax, but also there's going to be some key contacts out there for you. Don't pass it by. Okay, that's all I have for tonight. Let's go immediately to Mr. Richard Johnson, who's right here in Las Vegas, and see if Richard has, not if, Richard, add to what we've just been talking about, or start a new subject. It's up to you.
Well, I'm going to be brief tonight. My throat is better, but it's not totally healed. I want to talk a little bit more about the follow-up. And what I mean by the follow-up, I talked a little bit about it this afternoon. While you're working and you're contacting people, don't just email them. You know, it's very important to have that personal contact, that phone call, so that a person can hear the excitement in your voice that should be there when you're talking about our products and our company. But we're getting a lot of people that have the landing pages are starting to get the requests for more information. You know, a simple form people can fill out and it emails you automatically. You know, we also have those on your retail websites for free samples. And the same thing happens here. People get, it's not really a lead, you know, it's more than a lead. You know, when somebody's requesting more information from you and you get the email the same day, that's a really flaming hot. Don't follow up with an email. You know, they have to give their phone numbers. Call them. Call them. Don't just email them and hope that they get them. You know, Barry mentioned earlier, there's a lot of us, just not myself, a lot of people who've had a lot of emails over the years. We get tons and tons of email. And email is really becoming a problem on the internet to send and receive. And every email you send doesn't automatically appear in somebody's inbox. And, you know, I run into that all the time. Me and Barry run into that, just sending stuff back and forth and we're talking on the phone. Sometimes it never appears. Sometimes it'll appear hours later or the next day. So it's really important when somebody just filled out a form, and as soon as you get it, call them. Now, if that telephone number isn't any good, and there are times when people really don't want a phone call, they're trying to hide behind the phone and they want you to send some information, sure, go to the email then. But it's so important to make that personal connection through the phone. Obviously, face-to-face is even better, but that's just not, you know, what's going to happen all the time. So when you're getting these requests for more information, or you're working the list, you know, I had a problem with one of the people from the cold call clinic decided it would be a lot quicker just to grab all the emails and start emailing instead of calling. And I wasn't surprised when I talked to them and they said, well, I didn't hear back from one single person. Well, I'm not surprised at all. Get on the cold call clinics, you know, if you're having a little call reluctance, you know, a little bit of practice will put you at ease. And the other thing with the emailing, you don't get to call dibs on people because you sent an email first. It really doesn't work that way. We've had a couple of incidents where people have sent their little letter or their ad or something to the last 300 or 400 people. Maybe they were in a genealogy with you in another company. That's not going to hold them in place, and later you can't tell somebody, hey, I contacted them first. That's not fair. There's just no dibs with the email. I just really, I can't stress it enough. Get those lists out and get on the phone. Lauren can tell you stories. He's got as many as any, but I know of close to a dozen people who have run into a situation where more than one person has contacted them, or they've contacted more than one person, and the email just doesn't count. You know, it's not a total waste of time. It's a great follow-up when you have somebody on the phone. While you're talking to them and you want to get more information in front of them, verify an email address and send it. I mean, that's fine, and I do it every day. But don't make initial contact. Don't think that you're getting a hold of your warm market because you did a text to everyone. In my book, and in a lot of people's book, that just doesn't count. You know, if you're contacting me, you know, you need to call. You need to call if you want to talk to me. If you've got something important you want me to know about and hear about, you're going to have to call me. That urgency, that smile, that excitement, none of that goes in an email. So please, when you're contacting people, take the time. It doesn't take that much time. And it's a great way, like Barry was talking a little bit earlier here, going through some of my old lists. I've contacted people I haven't talked to in years. And it's a lot of fun. A lot more fun, you know, when they're excited about what you're doing and they want the information. But that's not going to be the situation with everybody either. But it never is. So anyway, when you're initiating contact, please just don't use your email because it's convenient anymore. You know, you can't hardly count that as I really worked my business today and I pushed a button and I sent 100 email out. Granted, it's going to take a lot longer to contact 100 people, but it's worth it. It's worth it. I just don't hear about people going, I've got a big email blast going on and I brought new members in. I'm just not hearing that. So I'm going to assume it's not happening. And in the past, it never worked very well for me. I know that when I did it. So anyway, I'll keep it short. Keep following up in that warm market until you've actually talked to every single person you know. Until then, you're not done. Harry?
Thank you, Richard. And, you know, Richard, you jogged my memory. Two other great leaders we have, Brother and Sister Copeland, mentioned today on the cold call clinic that they found a great place to give out brochures was the VA, the Veterans Hospital. You know, that is a great place to. I mean, hopefully you're not visiting there because you have to. But again, the point being, wherever you're at, it's a great place to give out a brochure. You just never know whose life we're going to change. Miss Jackie, you and Stan are both unmuted thanks to Kathleen's great fast work. Jackie, that call last night was absolutely phenomenal. Some of the testimonials were just brought, well, if you're human at all, they brought some tears to your eyes. Why don't you pick up where we left off last night and tell us what what's happening out there in your world, other than you're really, really busy.
I'm always really, really busy. I kind of like, on where we were talking about last night after the call. Of course, me and Lauren talk a lot on the phone, and Lauren had called me, and we were talking about the call, and then we got to talking about Dr. Rick and his great testimony. Just like you said, some of those testimonies were just amazing. When you have, of his caliber, talking about how to get your body well using the adaptogens and how it's resetting your body and all the things that it's done with him. It's just amazing. So he was talking about, like he does a lot of internet work as well. We did a Google Hangout last week and he's putting the feelers out all over the place. But I said, it's also simple to go out and build in your own neighborhood. I said, get him a Ziploc bag full of brochures to where every time he goes down to the beach to go surf, they're sitting up on the store. So when he's surfing with his friends, when they get done, he can say, hey, if you don't want to be sore tomorrow, here's a secret that I've got. And he hands them a brochure out of that bag. How simple is that to start spreading the word that way? And then, I was sharing with you later that night about, you said something about doing it on vacation, taking the business on vacation with you. And yesterday I had to travel. So, I had to get onto a plane in the afternoon, in the morning, and then get back on a plane in the afternoon. I didn't have anybody by me in the morning, so, I literally just sat there and contemplated the meeting. So I had to sit in the meeting all day. I sampled people at the meeting, which was kind of nice. A couple of people are looking through the brochures and taking the product. But on the way back, that's where I had my most fun. Because I'm sitting in a car. They've got a driver that was running me over there. And, of course, he's in the hat and the coat and, the full suit. And I said, how long have you been driving? And he said, 20 years. And I said, darn, you must be ready to retire. And he goes, oh, no, I've got a few more years. I said, well, does your company have a retirement plan? He went, no. I said, oh, that's sad. I said, as nice as you're dressed and as well as you present yourself and greeted me and as cordial as you are, you'd do good in a business like ours. You could be building residual income and get you out of this job even faster. You know, even if you like it, at some point you'd like to go play and have fun, I'm sure. And he says, yes, ma'am, I would. And so we got to talking a little bit about residual income and how you do the work once to get paid on it. I said, wouldn't it be nice if every time you had driven somebody over the last 20 years, they'd send you a dime or a quarter or a nickel even every month for that one drive that you did? And you could see his eyes light up because he already understood the principles of getting paid over and over for the same job. And well, that's what we do with residual. If somebody's interested in a product, and I said, I have to say our product is amazing, I said, and they get good results, they're going to continue to buy it. And every month that they buy it, you're going to make, I said, but it's not a nickel or a dime. It's $1.40 every time they buy that bottle again and again and again and again. And if it's somebody that wants to be a customer, they're going to get paid $16 every time they buy that bottle again and again and again. And he goes, okay, so what's the product? So I just shared with him adaptogens. That's it. Our flagship product. This is what it does. And I went through really simple. It's the energy. It's better sleep at night. It gets rid of inflammation in the body. So a lot of people see joint discomfort going away, but it's inflammation anywhere. So whether it's, you know, with an organ like the heart or with the intestines with an autoimmune disorder, it works through the entire body getting rid of inflammation. It'll help you get a better memory and focus better. I said it balances your system out. So a lot of people notice hormones. And it even can increase libido. I said, all with one product. I said, but that's just 5 or 6 of the main things. I said, there's probably a couple of hundred besides that. And he says, really? About that time the phone rang, and I thought, and it was somebody I need to talk to. So I grabbed the call real quick, but when I finished, we were just getting to the airport. So I pull out a brochure, I pull out my business card, and I told him, I said, I had some samples with me this morning, but I don't have any more. But if you know somebody that would like to try a sample of it, give me a call, and I'll send a free sample wherever you need. He goes, ma'am, I have arthritis so bad, my knees kill me all day long. So he says, I will be calling you. So he gave me his name and everything, and so I'm supposed to get back with him. I go straight in, and it's honestly time just to walk right onto the plane. It was boarding time because, you know, it was really bad traffic where we were at. So I go straight into the plane. I go to sit down in what I think is my seat, because you know, I'm kind of hard to see and stuff, you know. So I'm looking at what I think is my seat, and I climb in it. I was actually one row behind where I was supposed to be, but there was somebody in my seat actually too, so that kind of helped. But anyway, I climb into the next seat, and I'm sitting there. Well, the gentleman right behind me sat right down next to me, and he was from India, it looked like. Well, come to find out, his dad had moved from India to Kenya. He grew up there, moved from there to London, and then moved across here into the States, started out in California, and then ended up in Austin. So I, you know, he tells me, I said, oh, so you're on your way to Dallas? No, he's actually on the way to London. I said, oh, are you going back to visit family? He says, yes, for all the wrong reasons. My dad passed on Friday. I said, I'm so sad. I said, that's so sad. I said, I'm sorry for your loss. I said, when did you get to see him last? He says, it's very sad because I saw him a year ago, and I've been trying to see him for the last 3 or 4 months, and things just kept coming up. I kept talking to him, though. He kept telling me everything was fine, and then he got sick. Went in hospital, and he says while he was in there, I was talking to him every day, and he kept telling me, no, wait, go into China, see your son, graduate, and then come to see me. He says, no. He says, so I had a ticket bought for next Thursday going to go see him, and now he died. And I said, I'm so sorry, but I said, I'm so glad, though, that you had the opportunity to be on the phone with him every day and hearing what was going on with him. I said, does he ever have other family there? So we get into a really great conversation, and he starts telling me about their history. I mean, he's telling me that they bought all these sawmills down there. The family's worth over $120 million. His brother alone down in Houston is worth $60 million. And none of them are pompous. None of them they don't drive around in flashy cars. They put back as much into the community as they can. They don't sit on their laurels with their money. They reinvest it. They give it to charity. And he said it was all because of that man. And so we had this great conversation. And, you know, so he turns around and he asked me, what I do. And I said, well, I do network marketing. And he goes, I said, I work with health supplements. I'm a health coach. He said, really? And so he starts sharing that he has diabetes. And all. So we get into this great conversation. We end up talking about my parents, and I told him that they did cars, and I grew up around a paint and body shop, and I traded car parts in for body parts. And he says, really? I worked for Mercedes. So then we had even more to talk about. We talked for the whole hour flight, and when we landed, he says, I've got to have all your information. He says, when we get out of here, I want to sit down and I want to write all my information down for you and make sure I've got the cards and brochures from you. He says, I need something to read as I'm flying over. So I gave him all the information. He said, give me a few more because I'm actually going to pass it out to my family members that are in London. And he says, so I told him I would have sample packs waiting for him when he got back to Austin. So he's supposed to email, the day before he leaves to head back, so I can go ahead and mail him over because he says it's taking him a full day to get back here. So I'm mailing him over 2 days in advance. He'll have the product there ready to get started on it. He says, I know so many people that could use this product. He says, so I'm going to be really excited when we get to talk when I get back. That's how simple it is to get into conversations with people. Wherever you're traveling, wherever you're going, look for opportunities to talk to people and just find out what their circumstance is. Get to know them. I have a lifelong friend I just met. I don't know, but I wouldn't have known if I hadn't opened my mouth. So, he would have probably sat there contemplating where he was going for the next, 15, 16 hours if he was going to be on flight. So, open up to the idea of investing some time into the people that God puts in front of you, because God puts people into our path every day, but it's our job, our responsibility to just say something to them. Even if it's just to walk over and hand them a card or hand them a brochure. Once I did it at Walmart the other day, I told y'all that was a lady sitting on that one of those scooters. And my friend had noticed that she wasn't feeling good, and when she said something to her about trying to help her get something off the deal, she said, no, I had treatment today, chemo, and I'm just not feeling good. So she says, I'm okay, I'm just going to roll over here and sit. And my friend was more than willing to just leave her sitting there. And I thank God, though, that she told me what was wrong. I have no idea if she'll ever call, but I felt good knowing that I at least made an attempt to try to make her life a little better. Can't say that I will, don't know that it would help. But every time I put a card or a brochure in somebody's hand, it at least gives them an opportunity to know more about what we're doing. So take every opportunity you can to show these products. And I'll tell you, all it takes is, simply helping each person get two lives that they can be changing. So once you talk to somebody and they get started, find out the first two people they can think of that really could use our product and help them talk to them. If you're not ready to do it yet, if you're brand new, get on the phone, call your upline, call me, call Barry. If you don't have numbers of the people, all you got to do is call the office. They'll give them to you. But that way you can get in contact with people that can help you. And then get on the phone with a couple of people and tell them what we're doing. Help them get there to it. And then when those two join, help them get there too. And start helping people to grow an organization where they don't have to worry about how they're going to pay for their product. Because if that's all you do is just help them get their product for free, just think of how many years you could be extending people's lives just by helping them get into a healthy state. That's a difference. That's making a difference in somebody's life. That's making an investment in your time to make the world a better place. And every time you do it, you're just going to feel better for each and every time that you reach out and touch another life. So, we're not the only ones creating those testimonies on the call. So many more of y'all are the ones that are getting those people on the product. So don't think that we're the only ones doing it. Y'all are doing your part. We just need a lot more people doing their part. Okay? Hope that helps.
Wow, Jackie, thank you. Absolutely, that helps. And as we bring on Stan Henley, the owner of this wonderful company and what he's put together, Jackie, I'm sure you and Richard and Lauren, all the leaders we've got on this call tonight will agree that the reason we do these calls is because we believe in you, each of you out there. This is very special here, and we want you to be a part of it. We want you to their lives have some success in this industry, making a difference in people's lives. you all have the talent to be here. And again, there's no coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. You were attracted to this company to make a difference, and you've got a lot of leaders here that want to help you to make that difference. So, Stan Haley, come on board and talk about whatever you like, buddy. The microphone is yours.
Hey, Barry, and thanks for having me again. Actually, you guys are a real hard act to follow. But I'll follow up a little on what Jackie was saying. It is so easy to start a conversation with people if you are actually interested in what they've got to say. It's also a very, very friendly approach, and it's also a very effective approach. You know, take the time to talk to people. Ask them questions about themselves. That's the start of it. That's the start of building relationships. And yeah, we're in a relationship business. Always have been, always will be. And it's obviously working really well. I'm amazed this week at the number of preferred customers we've got coming in. There's either an awful lot of people out there that aren't ready to make the decision to join the business as a member, but they want to try the products as a preferred customer, or there's an awful lot of people out there that couldn't care less about the business. They just want to get the products. And either way works. It works really, really well. We've got some members that are actually going to earn more this month, or they have earned more this month so far in retail bonuses than what they've earned in all other types of bonuses. So that's a good start. And the other thing is, I'll congratulate everybody that stepped in and did the call for me last night, because I had my granddaughter's final orchestra concert for the year, and I wasn't about to miss that, so I took the night off and did that. As I said to Jackie this afternoon, Dr. Carol called me. She was actually on the call, unbeknownst to everybody, last night, and she was super impressed, and she actually said she had tears in her eyes listening to the testimonials. So that was a pretty spectacular call last night.
Well, Stan, we always miss you when you're not on the calls, but we also understand how important family is, and it's wonderful that you can do that and not have to worry about is the company or the call going to fall apart because you're not there for one night.
Well, I'm that concerned about the call falling apart because I'm not there from one night. That starting very soon, I'll be on every second call, not every weekly conference call, because we've got more and more leaders stepping up to the plate, and I'm basically planning on handing the calls over to the leadership. Because, quite frankly, I think you guys do a better job than I do. So
I don't know about that. I'm not sure the leaders are going to agree with you on that one. Having the owner of the company, this very special, wonderful company, on these calls is very special to all of us, and we just appreciate what you've done for us and the time you take to continue to make this company what it is. And it's also very special to have you on these calls. So.
Yeah, well, it's basically what I'm trying to say is that it's okay for me not to be there on every weekly corporate call because I know the calls are in very, very good hands. So yeah, that's fine. We'll kick that around the next week or so. We've had one hiccup this week. We ran out of Ellagic. We're expecting another shipment in tomorrow. We have officially been advised that it's going to be delayed until about next Tuesday. Once again, the hang-up is the graviola. It's getting to be a challenge to get the graviola of the quality that we need in on a regular basis. So to anybody that's got Ellagic ordered, I apologise. We're going to be back ordered for approximately a week. Maybe if we weren't selling so much of it. But the other thing I want to talk about very, very quickly is the phenomenal job that was done on the opportunity video. All of the feedback I've had on that so far has been totally positive, and I love the video. And Richard, are you still unmuted? Yep. I love the ending, my friend. I really, really, really like that ending. That is a perfect ending, particularly for any experienced networker. If you're looking for the real 30-minute video. Well done. Thanks. You're welcome, mate. Barry, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about tonight, except to congratulate everybody that's putting the new members in, putting the new preferred customers in. We've got a lot of both coming in, and we're very, very happy with the way things are going.
Well, Stan, it's only going to get better and bigger. And, again, even though we've got our logic on back order, thank you for not compromising the ingredients. We'd rather have it on back order and make sure we got the top quality ingredients when it gets back in stock.
Well, the hang-up or the hiccup from our end is that we require a certain type of graviola. There are 5 or 6 different qualities of graviola out there, and we're not prepared to use the stock standard run-of-the-mill stuff. So that's wrap with that.
Which everybody on this call, you heard it from the man himself. We all want to not only take great pride in that, but we ought to be spreading the word to all these other networkers out there that have to deal with compromise continually.
Well, the reason we use the grade that we use is very simple. It works, and we know it works. Wow. It's literally that simple. And it comes from one particular source. Anyway, so that's where we're at with that. But everything else is going along perfectly. Anyway, that pretty much covers what I want. So, if you've got any questions, ask them, and I'll answer them. Stan, I got one question. Actually, an email came in a couple of minutes ago. Do the preferred customers count in the competition? No. Okay. That's the short answer. The preferred customers are preferred customers. The competition is specifically for members. And the other thing preferred customers don't count towards is qualification for the 7-Star Club. Right? That's very specific, active members. And something else I'll mention that you touched on briefly in passing when you say you can't call dibs on anybody for shooting them an email. You actually can't really call dibs on anybody because everybody has a perfectly legitimate legal right to join under whatever sponsor they choose. So if there's 2 people talking to one person and they choose to join under the second person that spoke to them, so be it. There's no real way of forcing anyone, nor will we choose to forcing anyone to join under the first person they spoke to. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen occasionally. That make sense? Sure does. So that's where that's at. And to my knowledge, that's only come up once since we started, and it's not going to come up very often, but it will come up occasionally. The flip side of that is we do not allow somebody that's joined to change sponsors once they have joined. That would be a nightmare.
And
administer that in a fair manner.
Stan, that sounds so simple and so logical, but I know that and a lot of the veterans on this call know there are companies out there that, for whatever reason, under the table, behind the scenes, behind the curtains, let people change sponsors. And how unethical is that? But it happens in this industry. Thank goodness we're not a part of that.
Well, I was part of something 20 years ago where the office manager of a company that I was very heavily involved with decided he was being grossly underpaid, so we actually set up dummy positions in about 6 downlines and pocketed an absolute fortune at our expense. So, yeah, been there, done that, ain't gonna happen. Anyway, we're having some fun. We're going to have a lot more fun over the summer because, one of the things you guys were talking about tonight was, expanding your groups. If you go on vacation somewhere, take brochures with you, take staples with you, talk to people, right? Oh, and Barry, I'll give you one piece of advice. If you're staying at a motel for 3 or 4 days, leave a nice tip and a brochure on the first morning, not the last morning.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
It is. Number one, it'll give you much cleaner rooms, and number two, it also gives you a chance to start a conversation with the person that's picked the brochure up while you're there.
You're right, Dan. I don't know why I didn't do that, but that's right on. Excellent.
Timing is everything, my friend. Anyway, thanks for letting me on here again. You're coming up on an hour, so time to wind this one up, mate.
Yeah, let's wind it up. I appreciate everybody being here tonight, and this is just so special for each of us. Stan, any last words you'd like to leave?
Yeah, everybody have a fun week, have a successful week, talk to people, try and bring one person in the next 7 days.
Excellent. Miss Jackie, I know you and Lauren covered a lot last night on the corporate call, did an excellent job. Anything last message you'd like to leave with everybody tonight?
Well, one thing I used to do, and I did it really a lot when I was over in the weight loss coming in. I didn't think about it until we started talking about those tips with your maids and stuff. Something I watched somebody do when we were on a cruise. They had went and bought those 2 for $1 at the dollar store, those thank you cards. And they actually took a thank you card and it wrote out everything. They actually put the person's name because, of course, you get to know the super on your room. Wrote his name, talked about how great the service was. I know you travel a lot and are probably on the road a lot, but when you do hit a dot sometime, give me a call. You're a perfect person for the type of business we do. And told all the reasons why. So just like you were talking about, complimenting him, that's what they had done. They could have put a couple of brochures, the business card in there, and tucked it in a card. And I thought, how often does somebody get cards anymore? And I thought that'd be a great idea for a maid, especially if you're going to be somewhere for a week or so. Keep those little thank you cards and then write down all the things that you saw about them or how well they cleaned the room and how positive they were when you caught them out in the hallway. Things like that I think really help. And then I also, every time I leave a tip at a restaurant, put the tip inside of the brochure. I always take my card and turn it over. I know you're on your feet a lot and you give great service. If you ever get tired or know people that do, have them give me a call and I'll send a free sample out. And just leave it like that. Also, like Lauren's idea that he had the other day about trading out product, especially like our skincare line, the Aqua Complex, for a couple of haircuts. So think about that next time you go in. See if you can't find somebody that'll cut your hair 2 or 3 times for an Asta Complex. Anything that gets our foot in the door and starts making a difference in people's lives, just think of creative ways to do it and then come back over here and share with them. So, thank you much.
Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate you a whole lot. You know that. Mr. Richard, any last comment?
I guess I need to unmute. You don't like to repeat what I said. Just do it, literally. We have a fantastic product line. People need these products. They really need the changes in their health. The fact that some wealth comes along with it is just a bonus. But, you know, just pick up the phone and call everybody you know. And I think we could all put another person in the next week before this call. I challenge everybody to try and do that.
Thank you, Richard. And thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Richard's right. If you truly believe in what we're doing here and how special this is, and it is special, you know that, I know that, then, you know, we ought to be able to bring one new person in between tonight and next Wednesday night as we meet again on this call. So let's make that a goal for everybody, and let's go out there and do it. I know that one last comment. I know that Laura, in the last couple of calls, has had a guest on there. We didn't have time to have him talk tonight, but I acknowledge the fact that on the cold call clinic and on the corporate call, he had some guests on there. That's how you make a difference in people's lives, and we all are capable of doing that. And if you need help, we've got a whole bunch of leaders here that are rolling up their sleeves and ready and waiting to hear from you to help you. So, again, thank you, everybody. Kathleen, thank you for handling the board tonight. It's just one blessing that you do that for us. Appreciate it greatly. If you'd unmute everybody, we can all say goodnight to each other.
Line unmuted.
Order your Spanish brochure.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hi.
Thanks, Kathleen.
I stand.